You got to get the fuck up, man. You got to get beat the fuck up, man. I'm not gonna keep telling you, man. Fuck wrong with those black kids, man. I'm not the one to tell you nobody told you. I simply asked you to stop asking me for fucking money yesterday, man. You ask me every fucking day now you don't know. Fuck up. Fuck out here. Fuck yourself. You want to get nothing. Fuck out here. Stop asking for fucking money, bitch. Don't work like I was.
Motherfucker. Fuck wrong with you motherfuckers, man?
Oh, yes. Tyra went live last night, and it was a big one. Now, the clip that I just played from last night was him arguing with a homeless guy in front of the gas station again. And if that's all that happened on that stream, I'd be good with that. In fact, I was ready to go with just that. That's all I initially recorded. And then the rest of the stream happened. We've got a lot to unpack here, and we have a big court update. We're going to do this in pieces, and let's just get started. This is a big one.
Yeah. The bag is coming. It ain't if, it's when. Nigga. Fuck out of here. But with you niggas, man, I hope y'all stacked y'all chips. That's the gist of what I'm saying. I hope y'all... to the people who fuck with me, don't you think they've been making all this money stalking me and my motherfucking family, and this is why so many other people jumped into this shit? It's because so many motherfuckers tried to take me down because of Crispy, because they sucking Crispy dick, which is Thomas Jerome Harris, a.k.a. Tommy Sotomayor Whore, who don't give, two shits about them, right? Now, they done this shit all these years, right? Did they stack any of that money? Think about it. Do y'all think they stacked some money for the rainy days that's about to come? Do you think that if any one of these motherfuckers got arrested like I did twice in 48 hours, do you think they can bond themselves out? Do you think they could also pay for a motherfucking attorney? Salute to the people who showed some love, man. I probably done got $300-$400 in donations. I appreciate that, man. Y'all don't have to come up out y'all pocket with that. It's fine. It's okay. But I don't need to sit up here and motherfucking beg. All I need to do is ignore you some bitches. I'm talking to the idiots, not the real supporters. And a lot of my people who fuck with me, they don't want to get involved because they see what motherfuckers done to me and maybe they can't handle it. That don't make them weak. It's all good. I understand that. A lot of people don't want to donate because they don't want motherfuckers to know they donated to me because then motherfuckers run around and start attacking their family. I understand that. The fuck me. Do whatever y'all need to do to protect you and your family, because I'm going to do whatever I need to do to protect me and mine. Facts. Facts. Salute to the real been rocking with me. I'm not tripping whether y'all donated or not. Salute to the real. Fuck the rest. I got this. Good, bad, or ugly. I would say some names like, I'm not this person, that person. I'm not even giving them any goddamn attention. They know who they are. I'm not none of you clowns, man. Yeah, but guess what? Some of y'all going to jail. For real. You think I'm going to jail? Nigga, they already tried to come at me with a plea probation and bullshit. I'm not guilty. No. You got me fucked up. I'm good, man. I'm boxing this shit all the way up, man. And I'm going to speak to that motherfucking jury. And I don't give a fuck if they of my peers. Yeah, and then there's multiple lawsuits because then I was falsely arrested for carrying a handgun without a license. You feel me? And then those charges was fucking dropped. Like, come on, man. Fuck out of here, man.
Okay, so 2 major takeaways from that clip. Well, 3 actually. One is that he got about $300 or $400 in donations. Good for you. Keep donating. I want everybody who believes in him, keep donating. Give him as much as you possibly can. It's not going to mean jack. And we're going to see why in a couple of minutes. The next 2 points. He said that he was offered a plea deal. And normally, I would say don't believe anything Tyra says without receipts. But this I believe. It seems plausible. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. The other point was false arrest. Tyra claims that because he was arrested and then released, that he has a false arrest case. Well, sorry to inform you, you don't. You can try if you want, but they grabbed Tyra for illegal weapons possession. Now, he was supposed to turn in his guns after 48 hours. He failed to do that. They ran up in there. They found him in possession, basically in the same house as a bunch of guns that believed to be owned by him. And even if they aren't, they are within his possession, within his reach, reasonably close for him to use, which is a no-no while you are on bond. So a police officer comes in, they grab you, they charge you, they take you down, they book you, you don't get charged, and then you're released. Can you sue for false arrest? Yes and no. The one thing that the court is going to look at when they try to figure out if you were falsely arrested is, should the officer have reasonably known that you were innocent, and were they acting in good faith? That is what they call a good faith arrest. Tyra seems to think just because he was arrested and then released that he has a good false arrest case and that is going to be one of his bags. Well, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but no. Police officers act on good faith. They don't necessarily have to be right every single time. They operate on good faith. The officer that arrested Tyra was aware that there is a law on the books that says that a person in his situation should not have guns in their possession. And that officer made an arrest. If it goes to court and he thinks it's a false arrest, surprise, it was in good faith. Not only was it in good faith, the officer has qualified immunity. Why? Because, like I said, they knew that there was a law on the books that seemed to apply in that situation. Whatever the judge decides after the fact is irrelevant. The question becomes, is it a civil rights violation? That is the only way you would have a case, a false arrest case. Is it a civil rights violation? Were you illegally detained and arrested because of this? The answer is no. It's simply no. They were serving a search warrant. The officer acted in good faith. And once you got to the precinct, for whatever reason, they released you. So good luck trying to prove that. Of course, you're not going to take my word for it because, I'm a troll. Troll commentary means nothing. So let's move on.
You gotta hold up. Don't block that person. Don't block that person, y'all. Don't block Jangalang, right? Jangalang says you got arrested for possession of a gun because you was on bond and wasn't supposed to have a gun while on bond. That's a goddamn lie. This is why the charges was dropped couple hours later, and I was out of jail and 5 hours almost flat, and charges were never filed. We not filing charges. That's a bag. Well, y'all blocked Jangalang, so fuck them. But yeah, I wanted to address that. I got arrested and charged for possession of a handgun without a license. I've been having a license since I was 18. Period. Stop lying, it didn't get dropped. I guess. I'm just stating the facts to this public. That's it. It's so much more I can say, but why give the prosecution a heads up as to the fight? Like, come on, man. This is all a dog and pony show. The motherfuckers got a vendetta against me. That's what this is, and they took that opportunity. That's okay. The shit gonna come out.
Handguns. I told you because of that, you're prohibited. It's a misdemeanor. Okay?
I didn't know that. I mean, I'm saying I just got out of fucking jail. This is crazy.
I know, but you did know that you have the warrant, which is why you turned yourself in. So that was on the 28th. You were released on the 29th. This is the first, which means between the 29th and the 1st, you had that amount of time to store your firearm somewhere that you would not.
Yeah, I was supposed to
Because of the new law.
All right, so here we have two more points to tackle. The first one, similar to the last, is the case of false arrest. One more time. Again, he thinks just because he was arrested and released that he has a false arrest case on his hands and he can be paid for it. As I said just a few minutes ago, police officers operate on good faith. As long as they're acting in good faith, there's really not much recourse you have once, like, you've been arrested or whatever. There's really not much, unless they've damaged you in some way that was unnecessary. Now, having a look at this here, it says the U.S. Supreme Court has said because many situations which confront officers in the course of executing their duties are more or less ambiguous, room must be allowed for some mistakes on their part. But the mistakes must be of those of reasonable men acting on facts leading sensibly to their conclusions of probability. Basically, the officer showed up at the house. She believed, and I've said this already, she believed that there was a law that applied to him that had been broken. She's not a judge. She enforces the law. All right? If the law does not apply, the judge will handle it. But police officers can write you tickets if they think you're speeding, if they think you made an illegal turn, if they think like your light was out. They can write you all sorts of tickets and citations and perform all sorts of arrests. And what happens to these? They go to the courts. The court looks at it and says, oh, well, yeah, you're right or you're wrong or whatever. And this is what we're going to do. When a police officer pulls you over and gives you a ticket, makes you say 1 hour late for work, or 1 hour late to your wedding, or 1 hour late to some theater that you had tickets for, and you can't get a refund on those tickets, and you missed half the show because the police officer pulled you over, and the reason that they pulled you over was incorrect. You go to court, you tell this to the judge, you tell the judge, hey, I suffered a hardship. I had to miss my appointment. I had to take a day off to come to court today to address this, and the police officer was wrong. The judge looks at all the facts, and if you are correct, the judge goes, okay, you're right. You don't have to pay the ticket. case dismissed, no points, and you're free to go. And that's it. Now you may ask, hey, what about the tickets that I had or the appointment that I was going to that I missed? You know, I had to pay for this, and then I had to take a day off from work to come to court today. What do I do about that? And what are you guys going to do for me? The judge is going to laugh and direct you to the door. If you choose to sue the police officer directly for delaying you from going to your appointment or making you come to court that day or whatever, they're going to say, hey, the officer was acting in good faith. Sucks to be you. So police officers do not always have to be right. They just have to act in good faith. If it can be proven that they acted with malice, or they knew for a fact what they were doing was wrong, like pulling over your ex-boyfriend, or doing a favor for another police officer and pulling over their ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend on a BS case just to make them late for something, then you might have a case, but you'll have to prove that. Secondly, you have qualified immunity. It says here, the doctrine provides that a police officer cannot be put on trial for unlawful conduct, including the use of excessive or deadly force, unless the person suing proves that, 2 points, the evidence shows that the conduct was unlawful and, it's not or, it says and, the officers should have known they were violating clearly established law because a prior court case had already deemed similar police actions to be illegal. The court case they cite underneath basically says that a guy was surrendering to a police officer. He was sitting down on the ground with his arms raised, and a police officer released the dog on him. The dog bit him, and he suffered injuries. He finds a case, a very similar case, where a person was surrendering to police. The person was laying down on the ground, and a dog was sent out, and the dog attacked him, and he suffered injuries. That person who was laying down on the ground won their case. So this person used that case because it was very similar to his, and the court said, well, the person was laying down. You were sitting down with your arms raised. It's a completely different situation. Thus, we cannot grant you compensation. It's got to be identical, and it's got to be clearly established. So, sucks to be you. If you can find a case where a police officer conducting a search warrant arrested someone because they had been charged with a felony a few days prior and were not supposed to have a gun on them, and they did have the gun on them, and they were arrested, released, and compensated, then you might have a case. But you will find no such thing because it does not exist. I am 99.9% certain of that. Anyway, moving on. Now, the question of why give the prosecution a heads up? Simple answer, because you have to. Court isn't like a game. It's not Uno. You're not holding your cards so no one else can see it and then suddenly playing the Uno reverse. That's not how it works. You have to let the prosecutor, and the prosecutor has to let the defense know every witness they're going to call. They have to show every piece of evidence in advance, every videotape. It all has to be available to everyone so each side can properly prepare to argue against it. So there's no surprise tactic or a surprise piece of evidence or surprise witness. This is not Matlock. This is not like a television show. It doesn't happen that way. Each side knows well in advance who is going to be called. What they don't know is the questions that are going to be asked of each of these, and the questions that they're going to raise regarding certain pieces of evidence. But all of this stuff has to be on the table.
They gonna make their own motherfucking content. I don't give a fuck what you say. They gonna find some content out of it. They in hiding. Yeah, there's some motherfuckers in hiding. It's too late to go in hiding, though. And then you got other motherfuckers so stupid, they just back at it and said, don't worry about it. We're going to see who got the last laugh. I don't give a fuck about this case. That's what y'all don't get. There go them bitches right there. Look at the bitches. I don't give a fuck about none of them, man. They can kiss my ass. That bullshit they did to me on some bullshit, don't worry about it. Some of them getting subpoenaed to court, too. Yeah. I hope they do lie, because I got a hell of a lot recorded that they don't know I got recorded. I hope them motherfuckers lie. We gonna get some motherfuckers fired. Y'all think I'm playing? Let me tell y'all something. Why do y'all think they took my motherfucking computers? No, for real. Let's think about this for the logical motherfucking people, whether you like me or not. Why in the fuck do you think they took my phones, my computers, my GoPros, my memory chips and everything off an intimidation charge? Somebody make this make sense to me, man. If y'all got some sense, man, even if you disagree with some shit, go ahead. But let's keep it one motherfucking 1,000 out for shit now, my net now. What I'm about to do is I'm taking this shit all the way to the Supreme Court. Unless, shit drop. I'm taking it all the fucking way. And I'm going after Bonds on my fucking own. I'm going after Bonds, man. Real facts. We subpoenaing officers to court. Yeah, a whole lot of shit. See, what y'all don't even know, let me say this. This, y'all may not know this, but I don't even give a fuck about saying it. What y'all don't know, it was officers that actually shut their body cams off and picked up their motherfucking cell phone and started recording with it, and other officers called them out on it. Now, when the jury sees that y'all raided me, and then y'all actually was turning y'all body cams off, and y'all actually was making slick comments in the search and all different other type of shit, we gonna see about this one. I'm just stating the facts. I'm not, It's a lot of shit about to come out of this shit. There's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad gonna come out of it. You feel what I'm saying? But when you are a police officer, IMPD, you are not allowed to turn your body cam off. That's a violation. I got actual factual proof. Some of y'all turned your body cams off.
Okay, a couple of points off that clip. First, why take the computers? Why did the sheriffs take the computers and tablets and laptops and cell phones? Well, simple answer. It was on the search warrant. Very simple answer. If you want to get a little more detailed, they are looking for evidence that pertains to the threat or the intimidation attempt that was made from Tyra to the bounty hunters. That intimidation or threat came via live stream on YouTube. The officer on the porch said herself that they are taking everything that he could use to live stream with. They're looking for the video footage. Simple answer.
I want to leave my phone with her, man.
The phone is on the warrant, so I will be taking your phone.
My phone is on the warrant.
That's why I don't know what this is on. What kind of
Because
stuff
you
going
live
on.
streamed either from a phone or a tablet. They're both computers, things like that. They're all on.
Secondly, Tyra thinks he's gonna appeal. He's gonna go all the way to the Supreme Court with it. That once this is done, he's gonna go to the state level, and once this is over, he's gonna go to the federal level. No, you're not, sir. No, you're not. The only reason you get to appeal is if some sort of misconduct or breach of procedure happened. If all goes as it should go, there will be no appeals. But we can't even talk about appeals because we haven't had a trial yet. So anything that happens during the trial that compromises the case, that would be grounds for an appeal. But we're not even there yet. So to talk about an appeal right now is foolish. It may never happen. Third point. Tyra's talking about going after officers' bonds and putting them on the stand and trying to get them for perjury and all kinds of stuff. Again, qualified immunity. Every single officer there was acting in good faith. They had a search warrant. They were told by their bosses to execute this search warrant, and you were going to be working this day, and your job was going to be to grab this person or to cut this gate or to search the house. Everyone had a job to do. Everyone was directed to do specific things. They all went and did it based on the fact that there was a search warrant issued. Everyone in that house was acting under good faith. None of these cops were rogues that were just doing whatever they wanted to do. Now, he also makes mention of people making snide comments in the house and an officer turning off their body cam. Well, the comments that were made in the house, if they're actionable at all, if they're actionable, like the one officer who said a lot of stolen stuff here, if it was really that bad, it would be a police conduct infraction or violation, and that's something that would be handled internally. The officer would be disciplined internally. There is no civil charge or criminal charge that you can put on an officer because he's in your house and he makes a comment that this stuff looks like it's stolen. There's nothing you can do about it. If he gets disciplined for saying it, that's an internal thing. They pull him to the side and be like, hey, don't do that. And his superior actually already corrected him on the spot. Whether he was joking or not, the superior said something. He's like, hey, keep your opinions or your allegations to yourself. Done deal. Done deal. Now, turning the body camera off. First of all, it's not a criminal offense to turn off your body cam yet. There is a law coming down the pipe that nationwide will make it so police officers cannot turn off their body cams. But that's not here yet. So at this point, if an officer does turn his body cam off, that is a policy violation, an internal policy violation, which again, they can be pulled to the side by their supervisor and say, hey, don't do that again. At worst, they could be sent for retraining on body cam procedures or whatever. But that's not what we're dealing with. Tyra says he has evidence that an officer turned off his body cam and started taking pictures or recording with his cell phone. That's going to be the footage I'm about to show you right here. This didn't happen. It's clearly stated what he did. He pulled out his cell phone. He had to make a phone call and send a text, and he didn't want the phone numbers or any of the information that was on his personal phone caught on his body cam. He says as much, and we're going to listen to that footage right now. And also, as evidence that he didn't turn off his body cam, how did we get this footage? His body cam is still on, clearly. But anyway, we're going to watch that, and then we're going to move on to the good stuff.
And the bondsman rolled with it. But the bondsman rolled with it, but here's where the bondsman fucked up. The bondsman told the bounty hunters that I was the signer on the fucking bond. And I'm fucking not. They had no fucking reason to be in my property. So when you say you coming back, when you're coming back, you're in plain clothes, you gunned up, I rewinded the camera and saw it. You say you're coming back.
I don't want this on my body camera, that's why I'm standing here like this.
And you're going to...
She's moving out of the way. I'm not trying to take... I mean, I could, but I'm not trying to take pictures of anybody.
It's all right.
I just don't want this on here.
And you're saying that you're
my
going
personal
to make
business.
fucking entry? But the police, IMPD, nor the sheriffs will assist you. Should have told you something was fucked up.
I don't know what their rules are.
Actually, I'm telling you, did you see where those guys are over there?
I've been enjoying life, man. Oh, you're enjoying life because you're going away for 2 years. You sound funny when I can go in the house right now and show you the plea bargain. I'm not taking no plea, though, I told you. I'm not taking it, man. I'm not guilty. I'm not taking it. I'm good. And I would literally sit here. I didn't know the plea bargain verbatim. I'll tell you how the plea bargain. The plea bargain they sent to my attorneys is 300 and now don't quote me on the days. I had to go grab it, but it's not 300. I take that back. It's 500. The plea bargain was something to the effect of 537, 38 days probation, right? 6 months of it on house arrest, right? They gave me this plea bargain a week after the charges. Like a week and I'm going to say a week, within 2 weeks of the charges. Less than 2 weeks of the charges. This was the plea bargain. 530, I want to say 37, 38, 35, 37, 38 days. I don't have it in front of me right now, whatever. It was emailed to me by my attorney, but it's a plea bargain, right? 500 and something days probation, right? No, plead guilty to the felony. Hold on, let's back up. Plead guilty to the felony. Oh, they trying to take my gun rights. That's what they trying to do. Nope, not gonna happen. Plead guilty to the felony. 530 something days probation. 100. I want to say it was 180 something of it on house arrest. Right. So plead guilty to the level 6 felony. 300 and something days, 500 and something days, which would be a year and a half, right? Probation. 6 months of that year and a half on house arrest, right? And do a video via, somebody on a motorcycle rolling, and do a video via YouTube apologizing to the people that came to my house threatening me. And hold up, and 30, it was like 30 hours of community service. No, absolutely not. If you don't take this plea, if you set this for trial, the plea is off the table. You can take the plea off the table. I'm not accepting it. That's absolutely no jail time, but y'all sitting up here telling me I'm grade due 2 years in prison. Okay. That makes sense for y'all.
Now, this plea deal, I believe him. I 100% believe him that this is what he was offered. Let's break down what we got here. 545 days of probation. That's a year and a half. A year and a half of probation. Okay, now 6 months of house arrest. 6 months of house arrest in place of what the minimum would be, 6 months in jail. That sounds entirely reasonable, but we're going to talk about what happens if he doesn't accept this. Because you can see where the prosecutor's mind is at right now. This is, in order for this to happen at all, in order for them to have gotten this deal, his lawyer, Tyra's lawyer, would have had to have gone to the prosecutor and said, hey, like we watched in the other video, this is my client's first felony. He has a house and blah, blah, blah. He doesn't have a job or anything, but, can we cut him some slack? This is the best deal the prosecutor is going to give you. The initial deal is the best deal you're going to get. And tell you the truth, this is not harsh at all. This deal is amazing. This is a godsend. This is one of the better deals I think you could possibly get. They were quite generous. I believe. But anyway, let's go through this. Like I said, 545 days probation, 6 months of house arrest. House arrest, you can be at home taking care of whatever it is you need to take care of. House arrest. They'll probably give you an ankle monitor, and that's it. Of course, it's a felony, so you're going to lose your guns, period. A public apology. The threat was made via YouTube. The apology would be made via YouTube. I think that's quite ironic and yet still appropriate. 30 hours of community service. I think right there, the 30 hours of community service, that is the part that they were just, flexing their muscles on. It's not a big deal, really, 30 hours of community service, but they probably make that offer 9 out of 10 times with most of their plea deals. You don't have to have the 30 hours of community service there once the person is under 6 months house arrest. Your debt is paid with 6 months house arrest. But 30 hours community service is because they think he needs it. They think he needs to humble himself, basically. That's what they're saying by 30 hours of community service. You need to humble yourself, sir. Humble yourself, apologize, take 6 months in your house with 545 total days of probation, stay out of trouble for a year and a half, and we call this good. The offer is taken off the table if it's not taken by Tuesday, the 27th. Why is that? Because if you're forcing them to go to trial, they're going to go hard on you. This is them saying, hey, you're saving us some work. We'd rather not have to go through this whole thing. I don't want to spend my days, preparing and going to court and whatever. So here, let's do this. Yes or no? But Tyra wants to go all the way, he said. If he does not take this deal, this goes to the prosecutor's mindset, in my opinion. If he does not take this deal, this 545 days of probation, I think this becomes 2 years of probation. This 6 months of house arrest, I believe that would become 1 year in prison. 1 year. Of course, you have a chance of parole, so he may get out in 8 months, maybe. But they're going to say 1 year. The recommended 1 year in prison. If he doesn't take the plea, he won't have to make a public apology. He won't have to do community service. However, 2 years of probation and a year in prison is what he's looking at if he does not take this deal. The first deal is always the best deal. You're never going to get any better than this, and this is really, really good. I mean, what are you going to get if you press this point further? You're going to try and get them to remove the 30 hours of community service? I mean, they could. It's not a big deal, but you're pushing it because this is a really, really sweet deal. Sweet. So 30 hours of community service, that's probably negotiable. Public apology, if you can prove that the bounty hunters did something excessive, like they were rude or something like that, they could more than likely get rid of the public apology. I see the last 2 points, the public apology and the community service, as your wiggle room. That's where you could negotiate. But the 6 months house arrest and the 545 days of probation, that is extremely light. They took the minimum jail time and turned it into house arrest and then gave a year and a half of probation. Please keep in mind that felony charges such as these, and Vic Damone said it, felony charges such as these do not have misdemeanor reduction clauses in the statute. You can look it up. There, it doesn't say if the person did X, Y, and Z, then you can go for misdemeanor this, or it becomes misdemeanor this. This is a felony all the way through. There's really not much he can do about that. But yeah, if I was in his position, I'd probably take that deal. That's really not that bad. I'd lose my gun rights. I'd have to be at home for 6 months, but he's probably going to be on YouTube for the entire 6 months anyway. Make that public apology. You read it off a piece of paper. Have your lawyer write it up and you read it. And 30 hours of community service, what is that? Maybe you go and feed the homeless for a little bit. Maybe you clean something up. Who knows? Something stupid. Maybe you put in some time at a homeless shelter, which honestly he probably should do after he's running around yelling at homeless people. This is a really, really good deal. This is really good. And Tyra is not going to take it. He's not going to take it. And he's about to screw up the rest of his life. But that's on him. Any way he plays this game, unless he can convince 12 jurors that he did not do what everyone who watches YouTube saw him do, unless he can prove that he did not do this, he's going to lose his gun rights. And ultimately, that's what the prosecutor wants. Everything else is gravy. I said before all this started that if he took the plea deal, he wouldn't see a day in jail. And this is that deal. Not one day in jail, and all you got to do is sign the paper. This is the critical point right here. If he doesn't sign this by Tuesday, he's done. Guns are gone. Well, guns are gone regardless. Any way you slice it. Sign the paper, don't sign the paper, guns are gone. He's completely done in that category. Unless he can get 12 people to say that he's innocent, he is screwed. And as you heard from the rest of his argument, he's going to bring in a whole bunch of minutia. He's going to bring up the body cams were turned off. This has nothing to do with that. He's going to bring off the officers made some comments in the house. This has nothing to do with that. He's going to bring up Tommy Sotomayor. This has nothing to do with that. He is going to throw so many things at the judge, and the judge is going to swat it all away. None of that has any bearing on this case. You have to answer the question, did you make a YouTube live stream threatening the bounty hunters that if they came back to your house, that you would shoot them? The judges, well, the jury is going to see that video, and then that's it. That's it. The answer is yes. To anyone with ears, the answer is yes. And you're waving a gun around the entire time. This is it. So I'm going to call it right here. I'm going to call it right here. He has lost his gun rights. Period. End of story. I'm calling it. I'll put money down on the table on this one. He's lost his gun rights. And if he does not sign the paper by Tuesday, he's doing jail time. 100% guaranteed. Guaranteed. He is doing jail time. I will put money down right now on that. So it's all up to Tyra at this point. I mean, all we can do is wait. And until that happens, I have maybe one more little piece of audio here to play until we get into his actual hearing on Tuesday. And that's it. I'm out for now. Here is the little bit of audio, and we will pick up again on the 27th unless something else happens. Oh, and very quickly, one last thing. I found a case with a similar circumstance, a very interesting case with a man who I think he was threatened by his landlord, or he threatened his landlord, and he used the argument that he didn't make an immediate threat. He said basically, if you do X, Y, and Z, then I'm gonna do whatever. He said his threat was in the future tense, not current, like not in the present. It was future tense. It was a threat that was made for a future act. And the courts ruled that the tense doesn't matter. The threat was there, and it doesn't matter if you said, if you do this in the future, then I'm going to do this, which is exactly what Tyra said. He said, if you come back to my house and you jump my fence, I'm going to do this. In the court's opinion, that doesn't matter. And I'm going to put the case or an excerpt from it up on screen for a little bit. You can read it, and then we're going to go into that final clip, the final clip, which I think is quite ironic, and we'll end on that. All right, that's it for real this time. See you guys on the 27th.
You feel me? Just crazy shit, man. And it's sad that you motherfuckers literally sit up here and literally fuck with a motherfucker that try to destroy their life because their life is better than yours.